Hey you guys, so today I am doing a bridal transformation on my friend Emily. It is a soft, natural glam, so let's get started. We're going to start with skincare. This is so important. It's a great base for the makeup. You need to make sure to cater to each bride's specific needs, and it really helps them relax because they're the most relaxed in your chair. So lip care is important because it's going to help with your liquid lipsticks. It helps them feel not so dried out. And then an eye serum is great. I love serums more than creams because they absorb quicker and it helps when you apply your concealer. And then also your skincare. The Nivea Men's Moisture Balm is great because it's good for all skin types and it absorbs pretty quickly, so I really like that one as well. Then I'm going to add a little more moisture. She has normal skin, but this is just a nice refreshing mist that helps wake up the skin. And then we're going to go in and start priming the face as well as filling in the pores. This is the Benet Porefessional. It works so well at filling in the pores. It works great for all skin types. So I just focused this product where she needs some of that pore minimizing, which is around her nose, on her chin. So then I'm going to go in and prime the eyes. I'm going to start with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This is a long-lasting eyeshadow primer. And then I'm going to take the Mika Beauty Eye Primer. This is a more paint pot type primer. And what that's going to do is cover up any of her like veins and just make everything real blank so that the shadows come out just pure and it's a fresh canvas. It's not necessary to use two, but in her case, I was going to. And I don't know how I went out of frame, but you just want to set that that primer with a loose translucent powder, which is what I was doing here. And now I'm going to take MAC Soft Brown. This is a matte golden peachy brown shade, and we're going to start working in the crease. I'm using this fluffy blending brush. It's a lot more small, so you can really get into the crease, but it stays really fluffy at the same time, so it just blends the color perfectly. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep building up this color, so just keep dabbing back into the shadow and building it up to deepen and define that crease. Now I'm going into the Carly Bible palette, and I'm going to take this medium brown shade. This is just going to add some depth. It's a pretty neutral shade. It might have a slight bit of purple undertones, but this is just going to help deepen up and give some dimension to that brown crease. It is also matte, and I'm just going to add it softly using that same brush. And then I'm just going to take this clean blending brush and just run through there, make sure everything's nice, soft, and blended, because this is an extremely soft look. So I just want to make sure everything is very blended. And now I'm going to take this MAC pigment in the shade Tan. It's like a muted pinky brown bronze with a frost finish. These are really buildable and very long lasting. I sprayed this flat oval shader brush with some MAC Fix Plus just to intensify the color. And it's just, these are so good to work with, especially for special occasions. So I'm just going to pack that all over the lid from lash line to crease. And then I'm going to take this shadow by MAC. It's the shade Shroom. This is a gorgeous highlight. It's a soft beige with some shimmer. So I'm going to pop that on the inner corners, and then I'm just lightly sweeping with this clean end of this brush just to make sure everything blends, but I wanted it to be really bright in that inner socket so that the eye look just stays really fresh and awake and bright and beautiful. And now I'm going to take this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Amaze. These are so fun to work with. This really adds some sparkle and dimension, and we're going to put it in the middle of her lid. It's a metallic rose gold, but it has like multicolored dimension glitter in it, so it really just kind of picks up whatever you have on your eye. So since I already had that tan pigment, it really just intensifies those coppery, golden shades. So it really ties this look together, but adds some fun, some dimension, and really just made her lid pop. You can tell by looking at the left eye from the right. It just really changed the look. And now I'm going to go into MAC's Brown Script. This is a warm chestnut brown shadow and it's matte. So we're just going to deepen up the outer crease with this shade. You're going to want to build up the color. I work with it really lightly and I just keep intensifying it as I go. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm using this more precise blending brush. It's going to really work that color right where I put it. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of that shade throughout the crease, mainly focusing on the inner crease area just to define that socket, and make sure you just keep this really nice and blended. And then again with that clean blending brush, just going back in and making sure everything's nice and soft, because this isn't a harsh glam look, it's a very soft glam look, so just make sure you keep everything really blended. Then we're going to go back in with that MAC Shroom shade. It's that soft beige. It's got some really good shimmer, so I really like this on the brow, especially on her more fair skin. It's just absolutely stunning. And I'm going to pop that on her brow bone. And since we use this on her inner tear duct, it's also going to just really tie this look together. I'm going to go into the Lorac Pro Palette. I love this palette because there's so many mattes and shimmers and they're extremely pigmented and long wearing. I'm going to go into Espresso. It's a dark, dark brown. And I'm going to take a liner brush and smudge this on her upper lash line. Now determine the thickness based off of the client's eye size. If they have a smaller lid space, you're not going to want to do too thick of a line and just kind of completely erase their lid. So I'm just going to do this because when we apply that liner, it's going to make it look a lot more soft and not so harsh, where the liner alone might look a little more harsh. Now I'm just going to take a makeup remover wipe and lightly dust over under her eyes where any fallout may have fallen. Those shadows do have a little bit of fallout. And I'm going to take some gel liner. I love the Maybelline gel liner. It's really affordable and it's extremely creamy and pigmented. And I'm going to apply that to her upper lash line and give her a little bit of a wing just to elongate the eye. Make sure you stay below that brown just so that it all kind of just gets soft as it goes up and we don't cover up the brown shadow. And then to get ready for our falsies, I'm just going to go ahead and put on some mascara. I'm using the Better Than Sex mascara. I didn't use waterproof because obviously this wasn't her wedding day, but I would highly recommend using some waterproof mascara if you are actually doing this for a bride on her wedding day. And then we're going to put on some falsies. I love the Ardell wispy style. I just love them because they're long in the middle and then they are wispy, which means they crisscross each other, so they look really flattering on the eye. I love Ardells, especially for brides, because they are so light on their eye. They don't feel heavy to them, especially if they've never worn falsies before. So I really recommend picking up some Ardell style lashes because they're very comfortable on a client. They're not extremely long, so they fit most eye sizes, and you won't have to trim them or anything. I find it easiest to apply falsies on a client with tweezers because they give you the most control without poking your finger in their eye, especially because the point is so small. So just practice doing this so you don't stab them in the eye. And I find it easiest to put them on while their eye is halfway open. Now I'm going to take the matte black from that Lorac palette and I'm going to just dab it right on where the lash band is. This will help conceal that lash band. I'm actually doing this while the glue is semi-wet because it will help adhere that shadow more, and it's going to make that liner look a lot more soft along with the rest of the eye so that it ties together and it doesn't look like this super shiny liner and then this really matte soft eye. It just makes everything tie together. Once the lashes have been applied, sometimes the crease can get kind of lost or it doesn't look as defined. So I'm just taking a little bit more of that shadow from the Carly Bible palette, that medium matte brown, and just deepening up that crease, making sure we didn't lose it when we put our lashes on. Sometimes we find sparse hairs that are just too distracting, so make sure you ask first, but I always ask and I'm like, let me pluck a few of these hairs for you. Now we're going to start using one of the mini illuminators that we're going to apply to the face. I love this. This is a Sephora Radiant Luminizing Drops in the shade Morning Light. It's a champagne shade and it's lightweight. It really gives that glow from within. So I'm just applying that to the high points of her face. Then I'm going to take this Coastal Scents Eclipse palette. These are a lot of concealers and color correcting colors. So I'm going to take the green shade to color correct any blemishes she might have. The green will cancel out the red. So I'm doing this first before we apply the foundation. This palette is awesome. They're so blendable and they are full coverage and you just cannot tell. I just love this palette. It's such an awesome palette and it's so affordable too. I highly recommend investing in this because it has literally every color you would need, as well as skin color concealers as well. The foundation I just almost always use is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I love this foundation. It's good for all skin types. It's undetectable full coverage. It's buildable. It's hydrating. It gives a youthful appearance, long lasting, lightweight. I could just go on and on about the great things about this foundation. I just absolutely love it, and that is what I used here. I mixed two shades. I think I used nude and vanilla, but I honestly can't remember. But they just have so many ranges of colors, and if you are looking for a really good foundation, I really recommend this one. So I'm using a beauty blender, which is major key for anything you're going to do on the face, because it picks up extra product that is not necessary to prevent cake face, too much foundation on the face, you name it. It's going to help you out, and it really actually feels so good to the client when you're doing it. It just almost puts them to sleep. Make sure you drag down the neck. That's super important. You don't want that to, I mean, it's important on your own makeup as well, but just make sure to do that. Blend down the neck if you need to, cover up any imperfections, any redness they might have on their neck. It'll just really help them out and give that flawless finish, especially when they get their dress on. Now I'm going to take the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I love this concealer. I'm going to first apply it with this smaller foundation brush. I think this is like, I don't even know what this brush is. I'll put it down below, but I just apply it with that, and then I'm going to go in with a beauty blender and blend it out. This concealer is great. It's full coverage and it's waterproof, which is awesome if they're going to be criers. It covers any under eye circles, smooths finish, and it's great for all skin types. So it's basically like one product with multiple benefits. So if you just need that one concealer, I really recommend this one. I love the shade. It's in W20. I found it to work on a lot of people. It's very versatile, but it's super brightening, and it just really gives them a very nice, awake, fresh look. I'm also going to take a little bit of that concealer down the bridge of the nose, on the chin, and in the forehead area. If they have more drier skin, I would recommend only putting this concealer under their eyes and using another one for their center of their face, like their nose and chin. But her skin being normal, it worked fine for the rest of her face as well. Then I'm going to take this MAC Prep and Prime highlighter in Light Boost. This is a soft yellow cream, and it's just going to add some radiance. I absolutely love this product for photos especially. It just really brings a soft focus to the under eye, the center of the face. I just think it's so beautiful. So I'm going to put that on top of that concealer and blend it in before we go and set with powder. The first powder I'm going to use is this Benet Banana Powder. It's a yellow soft powder that I'm going to put on a tiny bit with this Beauty Blender just to bring out the yellow and the highlights and the concealer that we used. Then I'm going to take the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder and sweep away that yellow powder, as well as kind of set, you know, that under eye area as well, and also the other places that we put the concealer. Now I'm not doing the rest of the face because we're going to go in with cream products. First, this is the cream bronzer I'm going to use. This is a Dermablend concealer or body stick that I love for cream contouring. I use this stippling brush by e.l.f. and I just love this. It is so soft. It adds a more natural look. Using a cream product before a powder is really going to make it show up in pictures, make it last longer. I have found using a stippling brush gives you a lot more control because you can build it to your own desire, and it also creates a more natural, soft look than putting a harsh line and then having to blend it out. Either way works, just depending on the look you're going for, but since this is a more soft and natural, not natural, but a more soft glam look, using this method is just a lot easier. So anywhere you would put bronzer, I am going to put this cream product before we go in with our powder. And then I'm going to use Cream Blush. Cream Blush is awesome. This is a duo blush highlight stick by Beauty For Real, but I'm just going to use the blush side, and I'm going to use my finger because it helps warm up the product and makes it a lot easier to blend. And then I'm just going to take a stippling brush. This one's by Real Techniques, and I'm going to buff all that out and together, and then we're going to start setting our creams with powders. I lost the clip of me doing her contour with this contour palette by Anastasia, but this is what I used. And then for blush, I used this Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-hour blush in the shade Pampered. It's a warm pink. This formula is so great because it works on all skin types, oily and dry, and it's long wearing. I don't think they make this shade anymore. I think I got it in like a kit that was limited edition for a holiday. But there are so many shades in this collection, you are guaranteed to find a shade that you think would work for anybody, but a warm pink is a really good way to go. So I'm going to go back in with that stippling brush again and just make sure everything's nice and soft. You do want to be more heavy-handed with blush, just remember that. Then I'm going to take this IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Loose Powder. This stuff is amazing at concealing pores. It's an HD micro powder and it absorbs any extra oil or shine that may occur if they have oily skin, and it blurs away those pores. Like, it just blurs them away. She was so impressed by this powder, and it does not settle into any fine lines. Now I'm going to go in with this next cream concealer. This is the Statement Skin Highlighting Crayon in the shade Starlight. It is a beautiful champagne shade. I'm going to use my finger to apply this to the high points of her face, like mainly just her cheekbones, before we put down a powder. It's going to help intensify that powder highlight and prolong the wear of it. It just really helps it show up in pictures. It is just a beautiful cream highlight stick that I absolutely love and highly recommend. Now I'm taking the MAC Magically Cool Liquid Powder. I did not know this stuff did not exist anymore. I would have not used it, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere on the internet if you really wanted it. This is in the shade Honey Rose. It's a sheer rosy beige, which is just so beautiful on her more fair skin. It just really highlights her face and ties in with the pinks on her eyes. It's just so gorgeous, and I'm so sorry that I used a discontinued product. But like I said, if you can find this like at a CCO or online somewhere, definitely pick it up because it's such a fun, unique formula, and I absolutely love it. Take this powder brush and just lightly sweep over her face just to make sure there's no extra powders. Now I'm going to fill in her brows using the ColourPop Brow Pencil in the shade Bangin' Brunette. I've really been liking this pencil. You could use whatever you like. I like to use pencils. Sometimes I like to use pomades. It just kind of depends on the person's brow or how I'm feeling that day. They both work phenomenal. And then I set her brows with the Brow Gel Plumper by L'Oreal. I highly recommend that brow gel. I definitely suggest using a brow gel no matter what kind it is, but the L'Oreal one is a lot more affordable than higher end ones. I used the shade Soft Medium, or Light Medium, I'm sorry, because it adds a little bit of color, so it gives some dimension to the brow, makes it look a lot more natural. So I recommend picking up one of those, whether it might be translucent or a tinted one. I think they're great, and it'll keep her brows in place all day and night. Now I'm taking this eye kohl pencil by MAC in the shade Costa Riche. I love this because it actually doesn't make her eyes look smaller. It hasn't made anyone's eyes look smaller, which you would think being a dark pencil it might. It's a rich coffee bean brown, and it's just going to give those brown eyes a pop. Now I'm going in with MAC's Embark. This is an intense reddish brown shade. This almost gives her makeup a more romantic boudoir look. Using this shade versus like a black, it just makes it a lot more soft and sexy versus harsh, because black would just be way too harsh, especially for a bride. Because if you're wanting to be a little bit more smoky on your bottom lash, don't use black. Use this dark reddish brown shade. It is gorgeous and really enhances any eye color. So I'm using this like flat shader brush. It's just a really small flat liner brush by Eco Tools, I believe, and it really packs on that color. I'm doing it from corner to corner. Then we're going to smoke it out. I'm using a pencil brush and MAC Soft Brown again to tie in with the upper eye, of course, and this is a great shadow to blend out any lower lash line. And I'm just going to really smoke that out, make sure everything's nice and soft and blended. You can tell just by looking at the other eye the huge difference smoking out that lash line made. It just made it so much more soft and gorgeous. It just made her eyes look even bigger. Then we're going to go back in with MAC Shroom and pop that on her inner tear duct to open up that eye again. It will really lift the eye and just really open it up. And then we're going to put some bottom lash mascara on. I'm using the Better Than Sex again, but of course, definitely use waterproof if it is their actual wedding day. And then we're going to move on to lips. I love this liquid lipstick because I don't have to use a liner, and it is long lasting. It is gorgeous color. It is actually hydrating, and it doesn't feel drying or sticky or anything on their lips. I have used this on so many brides, and they just love it. They cannot get enough of it. The shade, the formula, everything about this. So I'm just using a lip pencil, or actually a lip brush, I'm sorry, to apply this liquid lipstick. It is in the shade Barely Nude. It is gorgeous. I love the color. It's very bridal and just really ties this entire look together. So that is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
You should totally put a segment in here with them screaming.